Hi, welcome to Garden Talk for Equal Ground Community Gardens in Brantford. This information comes compliments of Linda Ford. Thanks very much, Linda. We're talking today about what's going to be coming up in the spring. So we're sort of early spring and mid-spring. I'll do a video for the summer and the late summer as well. So early spring, what you're going to start to see in your gardens right about now, which is early June, is the spinach, the Swiss chard, and the kale are going to start to come up. Now, I haven't been to all the gardens yet. I've only been to River Green and Earl Haig. Earl Haig's got lots coming up. It's got a nice, big, beautiful bunch of kale that came up from last year. It's not something we planted this year. It came up from last year. They've also got some beautiful little pea plants that have come up from last year, I believe. They're adorable. They're in this little bunch. Oh my God, they're so cute. Spinach is going to come up fairly soon, and those spinach leaves can probably be picked when they're pretty small. The smaller your spinach leaves, the sweeter they are, and they're a little bit easier to chew, so they're a little more tender. That goes for the Swiss chard and the kale as well, and so keep an eye on your leafy green vegetables. You want to start to pick them when they're about medium size, and the leaves will start to grow back. Don't pick all the leaves at once. But start to pick regularly, because something I noticed last year and some of the gardens was that those plants just got way out of hand, and those leaves were just so big. They weren't pleasant to eat, and maybe even a little too big for my juicer, if I'm honest. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get the really nice ones again because they weren't getting picked. So keep an eye on those greens. Don't be shy about them. Keep picking them. You're going to start to see the onions come up, little green onions. I know you know what green onions look like. And if they flower, even better. They're beautiful little flowers. But as soon as they flower, you're not going to get as much flavor out of those stalks. And if you want to let them just go, you'll get bulbs of onion eventually. One thing about your herbs that you want to keep an eye on, and this is maybe for later in the summer, but just keep an eye out for flowers on your herbs. If they start to bud, you want to pick those buds off, because as soon as herbs flower, the taste, the flavor, and the aroma of the leaves, which are the part of the herb we use, that's going to be decreased, and it's not going to be as pleasant to eat or to experience. What happens is that the plant will spend most of its energy making that flower, which is its reproductive capacity, and it's going to take energy away from those leaves, and so it's not going to be as flavorful and nice. So keep your flowers down to a minimum through your summer, and through into late summer, allow those herbs to then flower and allow that reproductive capacity to happen once you're finished with the herbs. Again, the herbs, keep picking those leaves. They'll keep coming back. You're going to see cauliflower and cabbage and those types of things coming up in terms of leaves. You're certainly not going to see any vegetables just yet. It's way too early for that. Same with the broccoli and any of your brassicas. Your Brussels sprouts aren't nearly ready yet, but you'll see the leaves coming. Your celery, we've got some celery at Earl Haig. It looks like cilantro at this point. There's no stalks just yet, but if you taste it, it's certainly not cilantro. Those leaves are most definitely celery. In terms of mid-spring, so a little bit later on into June, maybe early July, you're going to start to see the cauliflower forming. You don't want to pick those too early, and that goes for the cauliflower, the cabbage, and the broccoli. If you pick them too early, they're going to be too hard to eat, so let them grow. Let them grow. Maybe pick them sort of in July and August, maybe. Your beets are going to start to come up, and your beet greens are going to be nice, big leaves. Don't let those leaves get too big, because they kind of get to a certain critical mass where the flavor changes. They're a little more bitter, and they're not as sweet, they're not as flavorful, and they don't go nearly as well with your butter in your pan. And so when you make your beet greens, which are extremely healthy and they're just lovely, put a little bit of butter in there. It doesn't take much if you're into butter, and just a few drops of water. Cover it, let it steam. They're gorgeous. Carrots are going to start to come up, and you can see little carrot leaves already, those little curly green things. You can pick the carrots when they're really, really small, little baby carrots. They don't look like baby carrots that come in a bag from the grocery store. They're triangles, just like regular carrots, just smaller. But when they're babies, you don't have to necessarily peel them. The peeling isn't bitter yet. Just bear in mind that once you pick that carrot, you're not going to get another one in its place. That one's already been harvested, and you're not going to get a regrowth like you would with your herbs. Parsnip, same thing. Your Swiss chard, it's in full force, so keep picking it. Freeze it, it freezes well. Put it into salads, make it ribbons, stir fry it, put it into with your peppers and your whatever you're making in your stir fries. Your beans goes really great, or if you have a juicer, throw them in the juicer. It makes really, really healthy juice. Your beans are going to start to come out. They're going to be little. They're probably not going to be edible at this point just yet. Be patient and bear in mind that the beans that are going to be growing, especially if they're growing from last year, might be purple. And that doesn't mean they're bad. We've got lots of different varieties of beans and they're lots of fun. Beans are best when they snap really easily when you break them. That's that for spring, and I will be back momentarily with a video on summer harvest. Thanks guys, hope you're having fun.